All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
Oh, thank you. Your ovation is warming my cold Hollywood heart. It's really. Thank you. I'm humbled and indeed gratified by your recorded greeting. You know, Tony is here, and whenever Tony's here,
thanks, Tony.
You know, he's a wild man. Anything could happen today. Kim is also here,
Kim,
and whenever Kim's here, there's blame to be dispensed.
I blame you.
Exactly. So stand by. Hold on tight. Big shout out to all of you who jump into the chat early, part of this community, loving this great group of people who help share this show, who interact with this show, and really provide a kind of, as I say, a community that's really something special. Today, David K. Johnston joins the Pulitzer Prize winner in Hour 2. I've got news of Trump in the White House, how you can make the White House come into your home for very little money. Yeah, for a discounted price. You can have your own little Oval Office festooned in gold. We'll have that story. Also, the Oval has been a place where there have been pronouncements of all sorts. And I must tell you that the unmitigated ambitions, I'll just use that word, of this president will be discussed with David K. Johnston and beyond. Now, the pushback from Chicago Governor, Illinois Governor Pritzker was pretty spot on. I mean, what he said with regard to Trump sending troops to Chicago was pointed and correct. We'll talk about the fact that, it would be illegal for the president to send troops to Chicago were it not for the fact that Donald Trump, as president, always has that safety valve of declaring an emergency of one sort or another. So we'll talk to David K. Johnston about that, and we'll play some of the Pritzker remarks. I do have, and I hope I will get to, a really good, I hope you'll find it really good, That's Rich. Occasionally on this show, what we'll do is we'll give you stories about the mega wealthy or the wealthy, and just we'll follow. These are money related stories typically. And so today I'm going to give you in this episode a real window into a high-end art auction. And I think you'll find it fun. So we'll do that a little bit later in the show. And speaking of fun, and fun that didn't work out so well, Burning Man, which is usually, I would think, where Tony might end up. You seem like a Burning Man guy to me. Yeah, because it's music. No. What don't you like about Burning Man, Tony?
I think it's a little too hippie and a little too dirty.
Yeah, I think it's you could be. I don't know what too hippie and too dirty is, but it's definitely hippie and dirty. It's artistic, it's music, but now there's sort of a high-end way to attend Burning Man. These CEOs of tech companies, they have some mobile home driven in there for them, set up, and by the time they get there, they're living large. And then they go out there in their goggles and in their shorts and their Mad Max cosplay. And when they get all dusty and stuff, they can just go back to their mobile home and shower it off. Well, the dust storm over the weekend wreaked havoc on Burning Man. It apparently blew campsites away.
Yikes.
Trapping incoming burners in up to 8 hours of stop-and-go traffic, apparently. The National Weather Service issuing warnings about the storm in advance, noting it would bring in a fast-moving wall of blowing dust to the Burning Man people.
Miserable.
Pretty ugly, have to say. The advisory carried over Saturday and into Sunday as more of the Burning Man revelers still trickled in.
I saw an advisory that said, "Don't come."
They had a dream in their heart, Kim. There was no turning them away. Celebrants tried their best to salvage their belongings, piled into any RVs with any open space to take shelter. I mean, this was a crisis, Kim. It was a Burning Man crisis. This is why Tony doesn't attend Burning Man. The winds reached a staggering 45 miles an hour for a sustained period of time. And attendees had their campsites leveled. Full structures and sculptures that were part of the festival's art scene destroyed. One towering piece ruined was the Black Cloud, it's called. It's an 8-ton inflatable sculpture. It's made by a group of Ukrainian artists. It was intended to symbolize the threat of global war. On Sunday night, Burning Man organizers took extra precautions, closed the gates to Black Rock City, preventing anyone from going in or out until the worst of the storm blew over.
Is that the Black Cloud?
Yes, that's the
sculpture?
Black Cloud
That's
that was
cool.
made to symbolize the threat of global war.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was ruined by these winds. That's an 8-ton inflatable sculpture. Those of you who are watching on YouTube can see it. By early yesterday morning, gates were reopened, flights resumed, and dedicated burners up early, repairing their camps and helping retrieve lost belongings. I mean, wasn't there like flash flooding one year too? They really seem to swim upstream against a lot of, natural headwinds, quite literally and figuratively. It's all part of the experience at Burning Man, says Sandy. Some years when I was there, we had dust storms, she continued, and these photos are hilarious, says Sea Dog. I mean, if you're just listening, a lot of people just listen to the podcast. There is, it looks like, these dust-covered people who are, wearing kind of burner stuff, and they are wearing goggles and masks and hats and other sort of superficially protective clothing. But the reality is it's blowing dust like crazy. So it's just, it doesn't look like fun at all. Somebody said, Calvin Wong, who is the shadow producer of this show, cleaning bill for your vehicle, $500. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, there's always money to be made. There's always opportunity. So, hey, your campsite blown over, I'll put it back up for whatever the price is. Anyway, that's what's happening in Burning Man, and it is that wild windstorm that once again has punctuated their fun. The real fun will start in, I don't know exactly what the timing is, actually. Maybe I can ask Kim. In the nuptials department, it is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I like to get some of the lighter, happy stuff out of the way before I get to autocracy and the fall of democracy and the end of America. So let's look at Kelce and Travis, Taylor Swift. Tell me about this. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce engaged to be married.
Yes, and this morning Taylor Swift put out, there's the engagement pictures. It almost looks like a wedding.
That's not fake. That's real.
fancy.
Okay, that's not an AI image. Thank you.
So
Doctor.
she puts out a message saying your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. Yeah.
That's funny.
And so their whirlwind romance ends in an engagement and hopefully a marriage for them. The wedding ring is huge, but it's called an old mine diamond. So it doesn't have like it doesn't like catch a million sparkles, but it's very big.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It appears to be an elongated cushion-modified brilliant cut, weighing approximately 10 to 15 carats.
Wow.
Set in a custom-made, antique-inspired 18-carat yellow gold ring.
Yeah.
And is there anything quite as romantic as getting an 18-carat yellow gold ring?
I don't think.
35 years old they both are, publicly dating since 2023. I mean, I'm going to give them a lot of credit. Look, I know that they're both insanely popular, insanely wealthy. She's the power in the power couple, I'd say, even though he's really as we've said, he's a celebrated kind of gladiator on the field of football play. He's done well. I think he's got a podcast with his brother. I think they're doing well from that. He's also doing very well through his NFL career and endorsements. He's in a lot of this. So he's got a tremendous amount of money and of fame. Who would have thought that that could be dwarfed by his wife? But it is. She's a worldwide entertainment figure, brilliant artist, and incredibly influential. And I would have thought, with that kind of combination of entertainment figures sloshing together, they never would have been able to hold it together, but they have. It's a really great credit to whatever they're doing. I hope it works out.
I think they're really sweet together. I hope it works out. I hope he's worthy of her. After all the public romance explosions that she's had, it's nice to see her finally have something good. So I hope that works. I hope it sticks.
Yeah. You don't want a song written about this breakup is really going to be ugly. Yeah. Before I get to the news of the day, which involves Trump taking on the Fed, I also have a bizarre moment in Trump's Oval Office comments during World Cup. We'll get to all of that. Richard Delamater, who's become quite animated in his participation in the show, says, "Good morning, my beautiful people. Enjoy the show." Richard Delamater is our
big shout out.
Big shout out to him. Yeah, I don't know what you'd call him now, Kim. I've called him several things, like the Hunter S. Thompson of the show. He's always road testing new ways to medicate, and he also is constantly offering me advice as to how to do certain things on the show. You should do this. Don't ignore me. I'm your, So he's saying, in his latest communication, he sends me these emails, which is, you can do. Any of you can do it. The Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com.
I've received a lot of positive letters.
He says, Mark, I just wanted to say for the record, I have no illusions about my involvement with your show. I am not an employee. I am not a producer. I'm just a fan who wants your show to succeed. Remember when I was buying iron rods for other chat people?
Smashed it with your iron rod.
I do. He was trying to sort of light the fire of enthusiasm around the iron rod and generating. He said, I was trying to start a trend that would generate money. Same with my slogan, Genius from the Future. If that became a drop or a phrase that would or could be supported by a tie-dye shirt, in my opinion only, it would create an element of fun and involvement and promotion for the wearer. But this is your show, Mark. This is your show. Go ahead and do whatever you want. He says, and your decisions, I've made my contributions, so I think taking it down a notch is a good idea. Okay, that's it. You and Courtney have a beautiful morning. He's quite a lovely guy, but he is trying to help. And
he's like, maybe we could call him the wise elder of the show. No?
Yes, I don't know if I quite say that.
No, right.
Yeah. I think the Hunter S. Thompson of the show, I think that whoever, and that wasn't mine, I think that was mine. I think I picked it up from a listener. Jim Slayton, who's been with us, he's an OG, been with us since the beginning, always very supportive. Big shout out to Jim Slayton. Starts us off with a $10 super chat. He says, Mark Thompson playing 4D chess with his wisdom, leadership, and strong values.
Nice.
There's never been anyone like him, folks. Simply the best. I mean...
Do you know who I am?
Yes.
I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm, again, wanting more Jim Slayton in my life, Kim. My own people, Jim. My own people, Jim Slayton, don't have the kind of regard for me that you have passed along. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Or as I like to say, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. I want to get into, if I can, what's happening with the president and his plan to... I'll start with the news of the day, which is his plan to shake up the Fed board. And it's a message and a warning shot to the Fed chairman. Look, I don't think you need the 3D chess to know what's going on here. I talked about this when he began leaning on the Fed chairman. I said, when he started talking about the Fed board, then he singled out this Lisa Cook, governor on the Fed board. I said, she is being singled out, but it's a message to Jerome Powell. It is, I want interest rates lower. I want control of the Fed board. And if you won't give it to me, I'll get rid of all of you that I can. I'll make life so difficult for you. I will get what I want. So Lisa Cook is the example, but the real recipient of the message for Trump should be Jerome Powell. I, Donald Trump, am going to take control of this situation. So he says he's firing Lisa Cook. Now, legally, I don't think he can do it. I'll talk to David K. Johnston about it, but it's supposed to be. And, this is part of the magical quality and attractive quality about the U.S. is that there is independence between these and among these government agencies. Not anymore. These government agencies increasingly are taken over and have become political arms of Donald Trump and MAGA Nation. So the removal of Lisa Cook, again, she's a Federal Reserve Board governor, is a message that I don't care what the law is. I'm going to make life horribly difficult for those who defy my requests and my orders. He wrote a letter addressed to Cook. It was posted on social media last night. He said there was sufficient evidence that Cook made false statements in mortgage agreements, and for that reason, he wants to remove her from her role. This is a little of it's almost Stalin-esque. Bring me the person and I'll show you what they've done wrong. Bring me the person and I will concoct the charges I need to go after that person. And this mortgage thing may be the new weaponization that he can effectively turn on people he wants to get rid of. At minimum, the conduct at issue exhibits the sort of gross negligence in financial transactions that calls into question your competence and trustworthiness as a financial regulator. That the letter specified. She said, Donald Trump has no authority to fire her, and that she will, quote, continue to carry out my duties. I will not resign, she said. Now, her attorney, Abby Lowell, and Abby Lowell is no stranger to Washington. Abby Lowell is saying legal action is coming. They will take whatever actions are necessary in order to block what they describe as Trump's, quote, attempted illegal action. Now, you'll remember last week, Trump called on her to resign, and that is when I first said, this is a message to Powell. I want those interest rates lowered. And this is the culmination, sort of what was going on with what began last week, singling out Lisa Cook. It's not lost on me that she's black.
No.
Sadly, that shouldn't be a thing, but I think it's the thing in a lot of ways with this administration. Women, black, gay, lesbian particularly, gay, Bessent's gay, I don't know. I think he has a real issue with women. But be that as it may, she's going to sue. And that lawsuit is going to reveal a lot. And, it's yet more smoke. I don't know, again, that he'll be able to remove her from this position. It's interesting. The Federal Reserve is, again, it's a board supposed to be independent of the executive branch. And the way it works is the governors are appointed, but there are a handful of bankers. Thank you for that, Tony. There are a handful of bankers that are also part of it. So there's a mix of people. And then, of course, there's the chairman, Jerome Powell. So the idea is that you get consensus from this board of governors. And then in that way, they handle monetary policy for the U.S. And I would say it's quite important, and I might say the cornerstone of the Fed is that they operate independent of the executive. And one of the things that has drawn investors to the U.S., international investors to the U.S., one of the reasons people come here to start businesses, invest with money, but let's just talk about investment. The reason, in part, is because there is this separation. There is sort of an objective aspect to the way the American economy is managed. And you've lost that objectivity now. Now you have Donald Trump, failed businessman, knows nothing. Look at the way this tariffs thing is going. It's an utter mess. It's chaos. And he is now wanting to manage the American economy. That is producing some anxiety on the part of investors. And the way you see that anxiety played out is the 30-year Treasury bill is now something that has become, in essence, a bellwether for the future of America, how investors view the future of America. So we have to pay a higher number to get people to invest in those 30-year T-bills. And for that reason, you get the sense that investors have anxiety about the economic future of America. So all the independence, all the idea that America is a rule of law nation and that there is this separation in terms of monetary policy, all of that goes away. And now I think you have significant anxiety about how things are being handled. And I'm talking about significant anxiety both by domestic investors and also by foreign investors. So there is a move on the part of Donald Trump threatening tariffs now on countries that discriminate against U.S. technology. He's saying, I can issue tariff levies and restrictions on the UK with their digital services tax, and EU states like France, Italy, and Spain quickly on this. He's just threatening export restrictions on country whose taxes, legislation, and regulations target U.S. big tech like Google, Meta, Amazon, Apple. He's saying on social media, digital taxes, legislation, rules, or regulations are all designed to harm or discriminate against American technology. The digital service tax is from the UK, and it's a 2% levy on revenues. It's so interesting that this happens in the same 7-day period that Trump goes after Intel and then takes a piece of Intel and totally reverses field on Intel, and we'll tell you how great Intel is now. And the CEO that he said, should have been removed and buried, he now believes, is a great guy.
It's so interesting that, I mean, how have you ever seen tariffs used like this before? Where does it stop? Every time he gets mad over something, he's like, that's it, tariff for you.
Yeah, that was the danger of this tariff thing to begin with. We pointed it out on the show right away. It sets up a system of patronage in a way, so you end up coming to Trump. Remember his whole thing? They're coming to me that all the time, and they're
kissing my ass.
That's exactly it, right? And so this sets up the opportunity for the chief executive to essentially levy with utter caprice, just on a whim. Whatever he wants. So
dinged for that, for sure.
Basically, caprice is a dingler.
Yeah.
But he is able to concoct whatever reason he wants, and he's able to enrich himself along the way. But he's also able to, he would say, protect America, from various, in this case, digital taxes that are levied against us. Just to skip back in the movie, Donald Trump shouldn't be able to, the president, leave aside Donald Trump or anybody else, shouldn't be able to unilaterally levy taxes. These are import taxes, and the chief executive shouldn't have anything to do with this aside from suggesting it and then bring it to Congress. Again, he declares a state of emergency. This is the same thing he's going to do around the elections, so I'm just letting you know. This is the dance. Better get used to it, this emergency declaration. And so it gives and vests in Donald Trump, the president of the United States, the power for these tariffs to be imposed. But the reality is these tariffs, these import taxes, they shouldn't hold up in court. and they are going to be litigated. And then that money is going to have to be clawed back, et cetera. So it's a mess, but for the moment, that's where he is on taxes. The big news yesterday, and really this is the thing that I believe continues to work for the GOP and for Donald Trump. It's cultural issues. You know, Donald Trump, I think, wraps himself in the flag quite literally. There's shots of him hugging the flag, this sort of thing. There's a lot of performative patriotism, you know. So he wants to talk about the military and the veterans, but he doesn't want anybody who was injured in war, and he doesn't want them in the front, put them in the back. They make it look bad. So his view of patriotism is a stilted one. And one of the things he has done is declared that flag burning is illegal. And he's done this through executive order. He, I guess, just doesn't really note that, I mean, there's a Supreme Court case on this, right?
Right.
They voted 5-4.
Free speech.
It's the very thing that distinguishes Donald Trump's America, my America, your America, from other countries. The idea is you are allowed to burn the flag here. Not saying it's a good look, not saying you should do it, but you're allowed because it's First Amendment stuff. Now, right after his executive order, which, again, targets flag burning, there was a flag burning incident right across the street from the White House from a guy who is a combat veteran. He says he was burning the American flag in protest of this executive order. He's a 20-year combat veteran, as he identifies himself. I'm burning this flag as a protest to that illegal fascist president that sits in that house, as he pointed toward the White House from Lafayette Square, right across the street. The Secret Service said in a statement it detained the man for igniting an object, as they said, and he was turned over to U.S. Park Police. Again, all of it happening just hours after the executive order was signed. So,
A guy
again,
like that who served America, many of them, my husband included, will say, I served because I want to fight for the right for people to do that. Though I would not, they should. Anyone, an American, should have the right to burn the flag if they see fit. So you can't issue an executive order and then tell this guy that the years that he spent serving this country were for nothing.
When Trump signed this executive order, he said, when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. Does anybody remember who the U.S. Attorney is for Washington, D.C.? Think Fox News. That's my clue to you. If you guess Jeanine Pirro, you can give yourself points. U.S. Attorney for D.C. Jeanine Pirro has played a key role in the Trump administration's efforts to exert federal control over parts of Washington, and she's shown a willingness to go after low-level transgressions like this one, the flag burning. She said this month, for example, that her office had charged a man accused of tossing a sandwich at a federal agent in D.C. with felony assault. So while Donald Trump can't make the flag burning illegal per se, he can write that executive order and he can animate people like Judge Jeanine Pirro to aggressively enforce in some way some other underpinning law, like creating a disturbance, or, you know, I mean, there are all of these different ways in which they can pin this guy to the wall, and we'll see where it ends up. But they like to make examples of people. So that's the example they make. And on these cultural wedge issues like flag burning, probably polls pretty well, making it illegal. I mean, you and I think it's ridiculous because we feel it's a First Amendment right. But the idea somehow that that America feels that way, no. I think that MAGA Nation, most of the people who voted for Trump go, I don't know. It's not a bad idea to make it illegal. I don't mind that particularly. So bravo to Trump for that executive order. Again, the executive order I think will not hold up, but I'm just giving you sort of the temperature of the nation in a sense. So now that his types are wearing underwear made out of flags or flag printed material, how fake is it to legislate must respect the flag, says Christine Park. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. You know, back in the 60s, they had this same thing. They had all of these questions about flag burning, right? That's where these Supreme Court judgments come from. But one of the things that confused the matter was just what Christine Park was talking about in that comment, which is, well, what if are you allowed to wear the flag, put it on your jacket? Are you allowed to make pants out of the flag? Am I allowed to, if there's stars and stripes are on my butt, can I sit on it? Or is that going to be disrespectful? Are the stars and stripes allowed on my shoes? Or is that, you begin to get into this world. And so Christine has mentioned some of it. He wants to incite riots so he can call in the troops. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Performative patriotism. I used to call it paper patriotism, but that's right, Heather Kennedy. Better title. Performative. Yeah, I used to call it paper patriotism because I think it's paper thin. It's like just one dimensional. So doesn't reflect any actual sacrifice on his part, any actual understanding of the Constitution, any actual strategy to ensure rights of any kind. It's all just performative. That's a really great phrase. It's just another ploy to have to get the Democrats to appear to support someone like a flag burner. The fact is that it is a constitutional right. It's beyond the thought process of a lot of people, says Randy. Yeah, I think that's a good point. $4.99 from Ben. I don't know Ben, but I do know $4.99, and now I know Ben. And a big shout out to you. Thank you for the supers. Big shout out sticker. Yeah, the flag code. I don't know what the flag code is, D. Elliott. Mark, the flag code says you cannot wear the flag. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know what the flag code is, but somebody's rewritten it because a lot of people wear the flag. I mean, there's a whole thing when I was a kid. You can't let the flag touch the ground. Remember that? I used to be in part of that detail that raise the flag every morning.
Code. Yeah, you don't let the flag touch the ground.
Yeah.
There are certain ways you have to just dispose of
fold
flags.
It. Yeah.
You can't just throw a flag away. You have to burn the flag before you dispose of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Brett Self says flag etiquette is very specific. This is kind of your point, Kim. Yeah. There are rules and there's protocol.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Exactly. Propriety. There are rules and protocol, propriety, and equal respect, but you'd have to write laws to get people to respect the rules. Yeah, but there is flag etiquette. It's very specific, according to Brett. So, Trevor Starr in Hollywood says, what if Trump can just ignore Supreme Court rulings? We can ignore his insane executive orders, right? Yeah, this is where, the rubber meets the road, right? This stuff will have to go up to the Supreme Court. And his view is that's my concierge Supreme Court, and I'll get whatever I want from them. So we'll talk more with David K. Johnston about this. But I think the idea that this kind of, I think it's a great way to put it, performative patriotism carries the day. It's significant because it's ways in which Trump can do something that he knows will, again, put the Democrats, as was correctly pointed out, on maybe the wrong side of the issue. Oh, you're for free speech? You're for burning the flag then? Is that what you Democrats are for? I'm not surprised. You don't have the patriotism that my sharp, jagged-jawed Department of Defense head Pete Hegseth has. Yeah, that my aggressive attack dog Pam Bondi has. Those are real patriots. Kash Patel wanting to weed out those Democrats who had anything to do with defending J6ers. The Justice Department has been purged of these people, and they haven't just been fired. They're going after them legally. They're really going after people to make life awful, to send a message. Don't go up against this regime. So, but it's not all that. I will.
The Mark Thompson Show.
the weirdness out of the White House does take on a bizarre cast. Like it's out of a Wes Anderson movie. The idea somehow that in the middle of this conversation about the World Cup coming, that Donald Trump could pull out a picture that he clearly is excited. He pulls this picture out and holds it up the way a kid might pull out a picture of themselves and a rock star or a celebrity. I mean, like, it's just wild to see. Tony will give you a little bit. This is in the Oval Office, and this is a conversation that was taking place around the World Cup, and Donald Trump, again, you'll see him holding a picture. He retrieves the picture, holds it, waits for the guy to stop talking, and then he can't wait to get it out there. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And I was just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay?
Mr. President,
yes.
on that subject, have you talked to Vladimir Putin about the fact that yesterday a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine? What's your reaction to
I
that?
told him I'm not happy about it. And I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I settled 7 wars, and actually, if you think about pre-wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. No, I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens. I think over the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out which way it's going to go. And I better be very happy.
Mr. President,
All right, I'm going to play that entire clip. Tony, if you'll put it aside for David K. Johnston, because I wanted just to get him to react to it.
The
but
picture
by the way,
thing was weird. So weird. Why was he doing that?
Yeah, I mean, he's excited to have a picture of Vlad and himself there walking alongside each other. That was the picture from Alaska. And for those who are just listening, and maybe even some of those who are watching on YouTube, the hat that he's wearing is a red hat. It's not a typical MAGA hat. It's in the MAGA merch line, though. And this one says, Trump was right about everything. Okay, so red hat with white lettering, Trump was right about everything. So it's while he's wearing that hat, he holds up the picture and he's doing the World Cup thing. It's another level of, it's no tie day at the White House, says Franco. That's exactly right. Great. There it is. You can buy it. You can. Tony's got it up there. Trump was right about everything. How much is that hat, Tony? You see a price on it?
$35.
$35. Wow.
They've marked down
I've
from
never
40.
seen anything like
so,
it.
hey,
It's on sale.
Get it while you can.
Randy says, and on the World Cup thing in the Oval Office, when Trump announced they would do the World Cup draw, he said they'll do it at the Kennedy Center, which Trump said many people now refer to as the Trump Kennedy Center.
Who is having that conversation?
He also called himself the president of Europe. He said they jokingly refer to me as the president of Europe, but that's no joke. It's a sign of respect that he earned overseas. So he's saying a bunch of like wild things lately.
Yeah, we'll talk to David K. Johnston about that. I really want him to react to that video. I also want to get to 2 other clips from the White House. Play me the clip, if you would, Tony, with Trump running through a bunch of stuff that absolutely never happened. This is kind of a he talks about these things. They're obviously concocted. When he strings them all together, it's really, it's quite a moment. Here you go.
Never seen before. Nobody lives like that. I have another friend, he has a garage, and in order to save his garage door, he leaves it open so that people can just walk into his garage, take whatever they want, and leave. But all the cars so many cars, I've been told this by many people, stars, big people, they leave their doors open so the doors aren't destroyed by these criminals. All over Los Angeles, this is taking place. And you know that. I mean, you've heard that. Christy, could you say a few?
Yeah. So there you go. That's all fiction.
Why is that new, that people leave their doors unlocked? I used to have a convertible, and I would leave the doors unlocked so that the top wouldn't get slit.
Right.
Like, fine, take whatever you want out of here. That's great. You don't leave anything in the car that you like, right?
Right. I mean, honestly, he's just picking these examples of sort of the lawlessness of American life, and I'm here to restore order and wait till I bring troops to your town. Becky E. says, how about Mark was right about everything hats? There you go. Why don't you suggest stuff like that, Kim? I mean, really, I don't know why you,
Kim, how are you?
Cannot be as inventive as Becky E.
I blame Tony for that.
Tony is...
Thanks, Tony.
All right.
But you got to do it in what, blue, I guess, right?
Mark was right about everything hats. Thank you, Becky. Send us some designs, and maybe we can make that happen. But finally, I would just mention this from the Oval Office. The White House has undergone a real transformation, as has the Oval Office. You see it everywhere. It's covered in gold. It has a kind of Saudi prince feel to it, like a lot of gold stuff. And the idea of the White House, I'll remind everyone, was it's the people's house. So it was deliberately conceived as a place that wouldn't have a lot of gold and wouldn't have a lot of palatial things. It wasn't supposed to look like Versailles. It wasn't supposed to look like some palatial place where an emperor would live. It was to reflect the fact that the people all are connected to the White House. That was the philosophy behind it. It's definitely an older building, and Trump and every president, adds something, I suppose. I mean, he's remaking so much of Washington and all federal buildings. But the gold that's showing up in the White House appears to be possibly not gold at all. Watch this. They walk you through in this piece
gold leaf? What?
How you can have the same look as the Oval Office now at apparently a hugely discounted price, and it's likely that that's the way this was done. Take a look, Tony. Run it, please.
You see the new and improved Oval Office.
President Trump is pretty proud of his Oval Office makeover.
It becomes more and more beautiful with love. We handle it with great love. And 24-karat gold, that always helps too.
The gold accents, he says, were created by the same artisan who decorated Mar-a-Lago, his gold guy. Cabinet maker John LeCarte helped add custom-made gold finishes to the Oval Office, including gilded carvings for the fireplace mantle, a White House spokesperson says.
They're gold, all gold.
The president recently showed Fox News personality Laura Ingraham his gold angels.
You have the cherubs is that from Mar-a-Lago?
It's angels. They say angels bring good luck. Throughout the years, people have tried to come up with a gold paint that would look like gold, and they've never been able to do it.
Can't do it.
You've never been able to. Look at that look. You've never been able to match gold with gold paint.
But eagle-eyed sleuths on social media claim the Oval Office decor is a cheap fake.
The Oval Office has been decorated courtesy of Home Depot.
They've matched the Oval Office accents to plastic appliques sold on the Home Depot website.
You can buy it from Home Depot for $58. And then you go to the other aisle and get the gold spray paint.
They sure look the same. Here they are side by side. Everything seems to match.
You can see it just transforms.
Interior designer Isfira Jensen showed us how it's done.
You can really achieve the same finish at home by just purchasing one of these decorative finishes at Home Depot, and easy as spray painting it and then adhering it to a mantle like we did here.
But high-end clients wouldn't use wood, right? They would just get the real thing.
They would use wood, That's typically how you do it. You would use these wood elements and you would adhere them, just like you would any other trim, and then you would paint it with a high-end metal paint finish.
Well, wow. When you pull back the curtain on the wizard, it's all a little bit different. Pretty wild. But, if that's your jam, you can make your place look just like the Oval Office for very little money. Yeah. So, with that, we move on. I want to get to David K. Johnston at the beginning of the next hour. I'd love a chance to... I'm trying to decide here, Kim,
Mark.
whether I should go to your news. What's that?
What's
What?
up, Tony?
Real fast. Gavin beat you to it.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Gavin has the Newsom was right about everything hats, and now
nice.
that's the answer to the Trump was right about everything hats. And
But there you go.
I just have no...
No.
Don't poke the bear, the yard sign. Wow, that's really...
So good.
that's pretty
He's-
wild.
Oh, girl, baby girl. Don't even play.
Yeah, Gavin says, don't even play, buddy.
His trolling is getting so good. So good.
The hats on Gavin's site, though, they're not as expensive. The Donald Trump's hats were $35. I'm seeing here in the chat that the Gavin hats are $14 on Amazon. I love that people are going to Amazon to get Gavin Newsom hats.
32.
32. So they're in the same price range if you buy them off the main site. I don't believe that they're $14 on Amazon, by the way. So, anyway, by the way, this I agree with. On the gold in the Oval and across the White House, D. Elliott says, chances are that quote, artist charged the U.S. as if it was real gold. I completely agree. I thought the same thing. I don't care how cheaply they put this up there. They might have done it for $40. I mean, really, they're literally talking about the number $40. Okay, so I didn't just pull that out of the sky. And I'm sure the American people were charged top dollar on that. It's a, and I'm sure also that the gold guy who did Mar-a-Lago and a lot of these contractors that have worked and are working on Trump properties worldwide are being brought in to do things for the federal government. And as a result, they're going to discount the work that they do at Trump properties and for Trump businesses worldwide. That's the way it's working. Come in, I'll give you a fat contract for the U.S. government work, for whatever you're doing, from building the ballroom to putting in gold leaf, and you'll give me a sweetheart deal. In fact, you may just throw it in, all the work I need done at Trump Golf Course, Trump Hotel Resort, Mar-a-Lago, etc. If those two gold things on the mantle of the fireplace were actual gold, how much would they be worth? Yeah, thank you, Randy. Thank you. The Gavin Bible is sold out, says 12 from the back. There you go. Kim, I need... There it is, all the featured products from Gavin Newsom and sold out, the Holy Bible.
Out.
Wow. Yeah.
So funny.
That's it. If you wanted that Gavin Bible, forget it. It's sold out. So, I'll give you more with David K. Johnston. For example, Trump is vowing to go after Biden's advisors, those who don't have some kind of immunity conferred to them as a result of Biden on the way out, granting it to so many. We'll talk to David K. Johnston about that. And then I will talk about what's happening in Chicago. And I've got pieces of the Pritzker address, so we'll share those with you as well. All of that still to come. There is this, Pamela Kirby says, and Pamela Kirby is she's an OG on this show. I believe POTUS has dementia. When can we commit him to a memory care award and tell him it's the Oval Office?
They are kissing my ass.
Yeah, well, they really kiss your ass when you get into those memory care awards. I agree that a lot of what he says seems to be a bit unhinged, and it seems like that unhinged stuff is even more confused and unhinged than the regular unhinged stuff. You know, he has an unhinged view of the world, but it is possible to designate certain things he said as even more unhinged than the normal unhinged. But wow. All right. Nobody knows the Bible better than me, says Donald J. Trump. Justin remembers. Yeah. All right. Smash the like button if you would. It helps us in the world of YouTube. Smash it like a boss. Kim will do some news, and then David K. Johnston joins as we continue. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report is sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. President Trump says grocery and gas prices are down and factories in the United States are booming under his administration.
Happy days are here again.
Yeah, it's the Gilded Era or something. That Trump made the claims during a cabinet meeting at the White House today. He also praised American workers, noting the upcoming Labor Day holiday and taking credit for a $500 wage increase since he has taken office.
Yeah.
There's never been anything like this.
All right.
Wait, where's my $500 wage increase, Mark? Oh. Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook will challenge her removal by President Trump in court. An attorney for Cook says he's filing a lawsuit that claims Trump has no authority to fire her, and the move lacks any factual or legal basis. Cook's removal follows a Justice Department investigation after she was accused of making false statements on home mortgage applications. Legal experts say the case could go all the way to the Supreme Court. A federal judge is tossing out a Trump administration lawsuit against every federal judge in the state of Maryland. The lawsuit stems from a standing order that limits the government's ability to quickly deport immigrants. Justice Department attorneys argued the judge had no authority to issue such a blanket order, but the latest ruling determined that filing a suit against the judges was not the correct avenue to challenge the order. The Trump administration is planning to cancel the approval of another offshore wind farm. Recent court filings show the administration's move to vacate and reevaluate its approval of the Maryland offshore wind project. But documents don't provide a reason as to why the project is now getting some pushback. The Biden administration approved the project in December, said it would produce enough electricity to power more than 718,000 homes. President Trump's cancellation of the project comes on the heels of a move to block a major project off the coast of Rhode Island as well.
Well, the Coast of Rhode Island project is unbelievable. It's 3/4 of the way done. You've had tremendous time and American taxpayer money that's gone into it, and it's outrageous to pull the plug now. I mean, this is Revolution Wind, it's called, the project, and it is absolutely insane to stop this now. I mean, it's already been funded. So you need to, take this thing apart. They started construction in 2023, and it's slated to go online and provide homes and businesses power in Rhode Island and Connecticut starting next year. And now you have Trump and the Trump administration coming in and dismantling this. It's absurd. I mean, it's 3/4 of the way done. You have to have supplemental ways to provide electricity in all the ways that we know we can do it affordably, and wind is one of them. So this project is not only approved, it is funded, and now to have them cancel this project, it really is a parallel to what's happening at HHS, where they cancel cancer research projects that have been going on for 5 years in the middle of the project. It's utter lunacy, and it's wasteful. You can't tell me I'm trying to save money by canceling that project. Bullshit. This project is going to generate lower cost power, and it helps supplement what is already a grid, an electric grid that's incredibly stressed. Absolutely outrageous. This war on alternative energy that this administration is doing is abominable because it's not sensible on any level. Take out the environmental stuff. I get it. You don't like tree huggers. You don't care about the environment. You don't care about pollutants. You don't care about poisons. You don't care about toxins. You care about corporate profits. This is going to be a moneymaker. This isn't some giveaway. So I'm angry about it because I am a tree hugger. And so it also addresses that. But, I mean, limiting renewable energy development with rising electricity demand is going to drive up power prices. It's going to make everybody have to pay more for electricity. Utterly, it's just stupid. And because he surrounds himself with this billionaire boys club of a cabinet, they just all salute and nod and go, yes, sir, great idea. Let's stop it, sir. I mean, by the way, I'm sure he may or may not actually even been aware of it. It was brought to him by one of his henchmen, probably Zelnick, who's running EPA. Anyway, go ahead.
President Trump
Zeldin,
says,
I think, not Zelnick. Zeldin.
Lee Zeldin,
Yeah, it's Lutnick and Zeldin. Those I got those names conflated. So, yeah, go ahead, Kim. I'm sorry.
President Trump says he wants the death penalty for any murders in Washington, D.C. While he touted the National Guard intervention in D.C., Trump said if anyone murders someone in the nation's capital, they get capital punishment. Get it? He calls a very strong preventive measure, making the comments during the 7th cabinet meeting of his second term. President Trump says his administration will be filing a lawsuit against California over its congressional redistricting plan. Wait a minute. Why did you ask for it in Texas, but you don't want it in California? He told reporters Monday that the Justice Department will take action soon, but didn't specify the legal grounds. Trump also took aim at Governor Gavin Newsom, mocking him during remarks from the Oval Office. Newsom defending the redistricting effort in the Golden State, saying it was in response to Republican moves in Texas, and later posted, "Bring it," on social media. The GOP is expanding its investigation into alleged anti-Semitism within the UC system, including at UCLA. A congressional education committee is now demanding years' worth of internal documents about complaints of anti-Semitism at 3 medical schools, including the UCLA and UCSF medical schools. These schools have 2 weeks now to submit the internal documents to the Republican-led congressional committee. This comes after the Trump administration suspended more than $500 million in health, medical, and energy research grants for UCLA, claiming it's been hostile toward the Jewish students, faculty, and staff. And universities across the nation have been dealing with the rising number of shooting hoaxes. Active shooter alerts have been sent out to students at schools like the University of Arkansas, University of Colorado Boulder, Iowa State University, Kansas State as well. The FBI is assisting as police say most cases were hoaxes involving the use of temporary phone numbers and apps to mask voices and cause a panic. And lastly, as mentioned, yes, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are making it official. The superstar and the singer-songwriter announcing their engagement on Instagram. The caption reads, again, your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. They started dating in 2023, and now it looks like, more good times are ahead for that amazing couple.
Wow.
Yeah. That's so nice.
Very sweet.
And lastly, what shall I say? How about this one? The Pope's Peace Day theme, peace be with you all, toward an unarmed, disarming peace. It's the theme for Pope Leo's the 14th 2026 World Day of Peace. A statement on Tuesday by the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development says the theme invites humanity to reject the logic of violence and war and embrace an authentic peace based on love and justice.
Well, that's a very laudable kind of goal, but sadly, feels like we're going the other direction.
Oh, well.
Yeah, sorry about that. But
in other news, the pumpkin spice latte is back on the menu at Starbucks. This report is sponsored by Even Better Coffee. It's CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
Oh, yeah, I'm having some right now.
Oh, the
So
coffee.
delicious.
Oh, the tea. Everyone we send it to, everyone we tell about it that tries it, they come back and say, oh, were you ever right? CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. got to try the tea. If you're a tea drinker, oh, the tea is amazing. From the vanilla tea to the mango tea to the breakfast tea, it's all so, so good. Mark loves the coffee as well.
I'm rocking the Sunrise blend right now. I also like the Ocotillo espresso. I love the Clarity blend. Check them out at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Do use our discount code. Look, they're a boutique roastery, so this isn't a discount roastery. All of the beans are roasted by hand, and they're all sourced from women-owned businesses. And this Coachella Valley crew is, I'll just say it, they've curated a perfect product, but they're also essentially great hearts that make all the right decisions in business. So CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Again, it's fresh crop, and it was all hand roasted. Use our discount, Mark T. Get anything you want on the site, merch, anything at all. You take 10% off everything. Mark T at checkout for that discount. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
During the newscast, my daughter called me from school to tell me Taylor Swift is getting married. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
It was great. I loved it.
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir.
Morning.
You cannot say you love your country. Where are my weed smokers at? Stay at home and get baked.
Right on, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button, which costs you nothing. It helps us in the YouTube universe to show up in people's feeds that otherwise wouldn't even know we're here. It is such an honor and a pleasure to have this guy stop through every Tuesday. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner. His investigative journalism regarding Trump and also concerning high-end real estate and high-end earners and businesses and the tax system and how it can be manipulated. It just seems so of the moment now. He also is the co-founder of DCReport.org and now a professor at Rochester Institute of Technology. The professor himself, David K. Johnston.
Hello, Mark. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. I have a lot that relates to, what you are so good at, which is kind of solving the puzzle of Trump. His latest moves, dictatorial, one would say. I mean, he wants to, in his latest statement, this is just in the last 24 hours, create a force of an armed force to go to America's cities and to knock down any kind of civil unrest. This is where I just felt, man, he skipped way ahead in the movie for us, and he's got his, I'll just use it, thugs. I mean, they're sworn kind of a loyalty to him, is my sense of it, to knock down any kind of unrest, which is the way in which a dictator would be pushed out of power, or at least hit some choppy air when it comes to the power they're maintaining.
Well, now that he's surrounded by people who are both ideologues and in some cases competent managers like Russell Vogt, he's moving quite quickly, I agree with you, very quickly, to consolidate his power. And it's not complete. He's got a long way to go, but he is certainly moving very quickly to do so. And the whole point of the trial run on having armed National Guard troops in D.C. Was to see how well this worked, where they would and would not get the response that they want. Trump said that nobody was going out to restaurants, and open table data showed that, yeah, people were going out to restaurants until Donald Trump put the National Guard troops on the street, and restaurant usage fell off 30% or more, on average around 30%. There are some owners who claim 75% loss of business. But Chicago, Boston, likely to be next on the list, San Francisco maybe. And you'll notice the high crime cities that might actually benefit from more presence on the street. Jackson, Mississippi, 4 times the murder rate of Washington, D.C. There's no discussion of those. Memphis, Tennessee. Places where there are MAGA or at least Republican mayors. So, and there are other
legality,
fronts moving,
David,
other fronts he's moving on.
But when, as you say, the test case of Washington, D.C. is chugging along, legally, he still has high ground since the feds do control Washington, D.C. But when we talk about these other cities, Chicago, San Francisco, Baltimore, et cetera, that I don't see the legal high ground he has to go into those cities and do anything.
Well, I agree with you about that. And I think the two Democrats who've stood out in this are governors, Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker, who basically said, go away. Both of them have made clear there'll be litigation if this happens. Probably a good time to point out, if you are in the National Guard and you are not an officer, you took an oath to follow the orders of the president. If you are an officer, your oath is only to uphold the Constitution. But in all cases, if you do illegal acts, you can be prosecuted. And if we get a different administration, that could well happen. So one should think carefully about what they do in these situations. It's very hard to stand up to a military operation. I'm sure that if you say, I'm not doing that, sir, it's illegal, you're going to get court-martialed. But expect we will see some National Guard members stand up and do that. Trump is moving in some other quarters too. You know, he's going after a member of the Federal Reserve. Presidents can only fire people who are members of the Federal Reserve if they have committed an egregious act of moral turpitude, basically. The accusation here is that the governor, Lisa Cook, has 2 mortgages listing 2 primary residence houses. Got news for the Trump administration. Under his administration, they let people have 2 residences, your primary residence. If you're a member of Congress and you live in, say, Studio City, like a certain radio online host I know, you can have a primary residence in Studio City, California, and a primary residence in Washington, D.C. And this is simply another effort to bully people and hope they'll back down. And this governor is not doing so. But he's moving very quickly to break things and consolidate his power. And at the same time, there's pretty growing evidence of his ill health. We talked last week about the zigzag pattern when he walked on the patio. There are now a couple of videos out on other places where you've seen him walking and one of his legs is not doing well. It doesn't squarely go down. And then there's 2 videos that I've seen done differently of people figuratively holding their nose, but apparently reacting to what may have been a rather foul odor coming from Trump when he had the meeting with Zelensky and the European leaders. And those are further signs of Donald's ill health. You know, I get emails from people saying, you know, they wish Trump to be dead, and you shouldn't do that. That's just immoral. It's wrong. And furthermore, you may get something much worse. I mean, want him out of office. I want him out of office. I actually want him out of office and live a long life and behind bars.
Sure. Well, you've said a lot. I mean, in the, as you say, in putting aside for a moment the strike force that he's really asked for the Department of Defense to concoct through Pete Hegseth, that's that going to different cities, and then going after the Federal Reserve governor. And I saw that, David, I'm curious if you agree, as a warning shot to Powell also.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And if you want to screw up world financial markets, he's doing the right thing. I mean, right now we're seeing today that there's a big sell-off of treasuries going on, and we get premium returns in our stock market and lower costs for interest because people respect that the United States has the rule of law and will behave in a reasonable manner in matters financial. Not a perfect manner, a reasonable manner. He's undoing that. And I, honest to God, from everything I know about Donald, particularly his appalling ignorance on economics, he doesn't understand. He really does not understand.
And he's surrounded himself with these acolytes who just will not push back on him in any way. So the tariffs, As you suggest, leaning on the feds, because the feds have already always had this independence, and that's what you're talking about. When investors look at America and they see that there's rule of law, that there is a division of these different areas of power governmentally, they don't see an economy that's jimmied with all the time. They see an economy that is better for investors. It's truer for investors. That is all changing.
Right. And then going to companies like Intel and saying, well, you're going to have to give us 10% of your equity. I'm surprised I haven't read that a lawsuit's been filed already by shareholders. It may be the actual transfer hasn't taken place, because you would need that to make the situation ripe and have standing to file. But, saying that I'm going to be given $650 billion by this country to use as I wish in the United States. I'm sorry, are we talking about the communist regime in Beijing? This is just unbelievable. And where are the free market, quote unquote, free market Republicans? Where are the principled Republicans? When are some of these folks going to stand up? Are they all going to continue to be like Susan Collins? They might say something critical, but at the end of the day, they always fold.
Yeah. I mean, it is straight up communism. It was remarkable to see it. And it's taken
at least Soviet. I mean, I don't think we've ever really had a communist government in the world. I don't think that's a good idea either. But certainly, it's absolutely Moscow, Leninist.
Sure, it's a communist tenet to have the means of production open. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. David, how do you see some of these? By the way, do you want to play the Pritzker comments? Play a little bit before we get to Trump. I will get Trump in the Oval Office, because I wanted to get he does something truly crazy in the Oval Office, and I'll get to that. Tony, do you have the Pritzker speech a little bit? This is just play a minute or two for David. I wanted him to. I thought this was, as you referenced it, it was a real strong response to what's happening in Chicago and Trump's declaration that he's coming there. Go ahead.
Speak plainly about the moment that we are in, and the actual crisis, not the manufactured one, that we are facing in this city and as a state and as a country. If it sounds to you like I am alarmist, that is because I am ringing an alarm, one that I hope every person listening will heed, both here in Illinois and across the country. Over the weekend, we learned from the media that Donald Trump has been planning for quite a while now to deploy armed military personnel to the streets of Chicago. This is exactly the type of overreach that our country's founders warned against. And it's the reason that they established a federal system with a separation of powers built on checks and balances. What President Trump is doing is unprecedented and unwarranted. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. It is un-American. No one.
You can stop there. He goes on, but I like that he hit everything. David,
Yeah.
he hit illegal, which is to me big.
Right. I think J.B. Pritzker has very much decided that he's going to promote the American Constitution and not in any way cower in front of Trump. Because remember, what Trump's counting on is people will cower. That's what he very much wants. He wants Democrats who will cower just the way the quisling Republicans are cowering. And so as soon as Donald acts in Chicago or Boston, the other city I suspect he's about to go to, you're certainly going to see legal responses aimed at this. And then it's going to function on what judge do we get in these matters. And of course, many Trump judges have not gone along with Trump, and some non-Trump judges have in what I think are generally appalling ways. It would be a mistake, though, to see any of these as individual issues. This is all part of a piece. If you're going to be dictator and have absolute power, if you're going to be, as he says he wants to be, like Kim Jong-un, who, you applaud and stand up when he comes in the room, or he kills you in some cases, including at least one family member, then you've got to go on a whole group of fronts to do this. And he certainly doesn't have to worry about the Attorney General of the United States and the Justice Department. They can commit all the crimes they want, and Nothing's going to change. So we should be very grateful that both Newsom and Pritzker are not only standing up, but they're speaking to people in plain English, and they're being clear about where they are, and they're able to hit all the buttons. Don't be surprised if one of those two men is the Democratic Party nominee in 2028.
Now to the Oval Office and the bizarre way in which Trump whips out a photo of Vladimir Putin and himself on the red carpet of Alaska that was laid out for their summit. And he waves it around the way like an 11-year-old would wave around a picture of themselves and some sports celebrity or something. Go ahead, Tony. Play a little bit if you would. This is from the Oval Office.
Very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But he'll, I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me.
Mark, what a fraud. Here's a man who said, one day I'll solve the war. I don't even need to be back in office. All I have to do is win the election, and in 24 hours, the war will be over. It was a fraud then. Unfortunately, tens of millions of people believed that nonsense. They thought he could lower prices. They thought he cared about them. And now he's reduced to holding up a picture of the White House and looking like and talking like who he is emotionally and mentally. He's a child. He's 12. I would put him at 12 or 13 rather than 11 or 12, but
it is cartoonish. I mean, it's just amazing. I haven't had a chance to speak with you since the developments late last week when John Bolton's residence and business were swarmed by FBI agents looking for documents or looking for, they seized hard drives, etc. Bolton, of course, had that book that he wrote after having served in the Trump administration. He had the book dry cleaned of anything that could be a problem in terms of security. He had the White House look at it. And still, Trump is claiming, and his administration is claiming, there may be violations of top secret, you can tell me, classified materials in the concocting of this book, in the writing of this book, in the, in the days leading up to the book, and maybe even in the book.
John Bolton, whom I've interviewed, I don't see the world anyway at all the way he does, but I respect that he is a serious person, and we should take him seriously. He's not Tulsi Gabbard and these other incompetents. And Bolton had to sue to get his book reviewed by the government in pre-publication review because they were just trying to kill it by not acting. If they find some stray document of any consequence, they will indict him. My guess is that they won't, because Bolton has said he expected that Trump was going to come after him. And this is, again, simply part of the revenge tour. When Donald says, I had nothing to do with it, I didn't even know they did it, I saw it on TV. Yeah, right. And I own a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you. It's absurd. There are going to be other cases, but he particularly is angry at Bolton because Bolton has hit him right where he looks the most foolish and incompetent. And so my question would be, well, who's next? And picking Bolton was not exactly wise because Bolton has a spine and he'll stand up to him. There are some other people who would completely flip out. And I'm surprised they didn't go after one of those people, someone they thought they could go after. Don't be shocked if they go after Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton.
They said they're going to go after Biden aides. They've come out and actually said they're going after Biden aides.
Right. Yes, they just haven't done any of those yet. Now, I thought Hunter Biden handled this brilliantly when he got into it with Melania Trump. And it was basically, gee, you want to sue me for $10 billion? See you in court. I can't wait to question you, which is what I told Donald the very first time he told me in 1989. I've been covering him for about a year, that he was going to sue me and see my children out on the curb and whatnot. And I said, Donald, if you think you have a case, you should bring it. And after a pause, then I said, it'll be interesting to question you under oath.
That's wonderful. I do want to draw a distinction, though, David. I'm just curious, when we talk about the Biden age, you talk about Kamala, you talk about Hillary, et cetera, and then you talk about John Bolton. To me, they fall into separate categories, and yet they are under one category. The separate categories are Bolton is disloyal. He was part of the Trump orbit. He left, and now he's a critic. The others are the enemy, right? Democrats, they're not patriots the way we are. They're awful people, et cetera. In a way, they're all of a kind, but the disloyalty, I think, is something that Trump is really trying to get through to everybody, and that's how he gets GOP to cow to him and maybe judicial influences to ride in the direction that he's riding.
Right, and that gives him more leverage over those people who are with him because they'll be loyal. And let's not forget, we're not anywhere near that stage yet, but all dictatorial regimes eventually, and not that far in, years in, not decades, turn on some of the very top people who are loyal, because that further reinforces you will do what the great leader says, or we'll put you in front of the firing squad, or send you to the gulag, or whatever the appropriate action is. And that will happen down the road. Trump's also, apparently they're trying to cut the security budget for federal judges. So we have a number of federal judges who get driven to work by armed detectives and driven back to work and have security at their homes. And he wants to eliminate that. He wants to do anything he can to put other people in fear.
Sure. Yeah, he wants to create the anxiety that they never had before, that these one-offs might include a one-off involving them. That
there's one thing we shouldn't lose sight of, Mark. Congress will be back soon after Labor Day. The Epstein issue needs to be kept in the news. There need to be new developments. There have been new photographs and videos that have been identified. At least one Howard Stern episode I had not heard. I had never listened to Howard Stern except when he's used as a clip somewhere. But quite shocked when basically he said he was having sex with girls as long as they were older than 12. And he fundamentally sort of admitted it. When they called him a sexual predator in this one, he goes, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's really important to focus on the Epstein thing, because as I've said on your show before, I don't believe Donald can survive as president. Irrefutable evidence that he was doing what there's enormous reason to believe is true, which is again and again and again raping 12-year-old, 13, 14-year-old children. Maybe not 12-year-olds based on what he said, but 13 or 14, 15, you're still a child rapist.
The women brought in by, and girls brought in by Ghislaine Maxwell, they were groomed. She sought them out. Some of them came from modeling agencies. It was like they had but again, I'll remind everybody that modeling then, 12 and still now on the covers of magazines and all the rest, 12 to about 20. There were maybe some 24-year-olds or early 20s that get in, but that's sort of where your pool demography is.
Well, in New York State, we actually passed a law some years ago lifting the minimum age when you could do modeling work without a great deal of close control. I mean, you still have models who are 5 years old for toys and things. And at the time that was passed, there was testimony the average age of the model you see in a bikini, or whatever you call something that's like a third of a bikini, was 14 right. years old.
Right.
And of course, Ghislaine Maxwell was very good at finding not girls who had substance economically and socially and material in their lives, but girls who were troubled, were broke, and who could be manipulated and threatened.
Right.
That you go look for the vulnerable people. It's like I used to teach my kids, if you find yourself having to walk in some place where you think there's young men around you who might be a danger, you adopt command presence. You stand up straight and you march, and people tend not to mess with you. And they look for the exact opposite: pliability, dependence.
As you say, a lot of the women or girls were from broken homes,
right.
looking for, they were lost. They were lost souls, and
probably some of them were previously victimized. One of the early things you learn as a reporter, if you're out covering street crime, as I was 60 years ago, or almost 60 years ago, was there must be a lot more abuse by stepfathers and maybe fathers and brothers and funny uncles than I wanted to ever think about.
I'd also just say that there are aspiring models within that same universe of Jeffrey Epstein. We know this now. There's so much documentation on what this guy was doing. There have been documentaries, et cetera. You can find victim testimony on YouTube, on this platform that we're on right now. And you can hear about how they wanted to be models. They were part of what they thought were kind of a modeling casting of sorts. And it turned out it was just Trump and Jeffrey Epstein in attendance, only the two of them. There were other model parties where they all had to show up. And there were men, all of them, for the most part, 40 plus. Meanwhile, these women are in their teens and early 20s, and they just hadn't understood that that's the way it's configured. It strikes me as we've played the audio yesterday, and this is the last thing I just was going to mention on this Epstein thing. We played the audio yesterday, David, of the Todd Blanche meeting with, it's as though she's reading from a script saying, Donald Trump was the most respectful. I never saw him do anything. And then, 24 hours later, she's moved to this minimum security facility. It's so absurd and cartoonish. It would be laughable were it not so serious.
Right. And by the way, don't expect a pardon. If Donald were to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, a Democratic Congress could call her as a witness, order her to testify. So could a judge in some civil proceeding, and hold you in contempt because if you pardon, you can't be touched. He's much more likely to grant her clemency. That is, we're going to release you for time served. And he's not doing it right now because he doesn't need the blow up, but he may well somewhere down the road. And if he does clemency, then it gets more complicated. Congress has to say, no, you're giving you immunity for what you're doing. You have to testify, otherwise we can prosecute you. Of course, prosecution would be by the Trump Justice Department. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah, indeed. All right. This is interesting. Eileen Finn Kopp says Michael Wolff has Epstein tapes that supposedly say Trump loves seducing the wives of his friends.
Oh, yeah.
Wolff also called Trump a functioning illiterate. Oh,
yes.
Let me ask you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Donald does not really read. He reads headlines. The reason he let Michael Wolff into his social circle in the White House was he liked the cover of the Hollywood Reporter piece Trump did. If he had just read the lead and maybe the next two paragraphs, he would have gone, and never let Wolff near him. So he is, in fact, functionally illiterate. He goes by headlines. He doesn't read articles. And remember, he's not that unusual when he says, I love the poorly educated. Half of Americans read at the level of an 11-year-old or less. Half. So he's not unusual about that.
He's able, apparently, to lock into that crew and, lock into the American voter in a pretty incredible way. So that's his reptilian brain or whatever. We got to wrap up.
Also, he's setting everything up that, the reason your gasoline isn't gone down or your eggs aren't as inexpensive, it's the Democrats, it's the judges. And the answers you're going to get back are like when Hillary was running 8 years ago, Benghazi. What about Benghazi? Benghazi. One word, I don't know. People who don't know anything, that's his base. And unfortunately, they've gone from not voting to high propensity voters.
But, they're animated to vote. That may be why they may not be as animated in the midterms. Before I let you go, just of the moment, and this is sort of what you're talking about, he identifies certain things. I'm going to call this sort of a borderline cultural wedge issue, /patriotism. We're calling it performative patriotism on the show, where he writes up an executive order banning flag burning. Okay, now we know the Supreme Court has ruled that's a First Amendment right, et cetera, but he gets this executive order and he gets some horsepower out of it politically, because Democrats are in a position like having to defend the First Amendment and you're defending flag burning, et cetera. Then they arrest or detain this veteran who immediately after this executive order is signed, hours later, burns a flag on Lafayette Park, which is right across from the White House, as you know. And now Jeanine Pirro is saying that she wants to prosecute these people. She could concoct a prosecution, couldn't she, David, that doesn't involve flag burning per se? It would involve something else like creating a disturbance, or you see my point?
Well, she might actually prosecute him on the flag burning, hoping to overturn the U.S. Supreme Court case, which, if I recall, is called Johnston, that burning of the flag per se is a protected First Amendment activity. But yes, if they're smart, they will try, and a trial judge would then be faced with, am I going to dismiss this case? But there's always some idiot who takes the bait, and that's what Trump is hoping for. And he's hoping with the military that there are people who provoke something. And I'm very troubled about the handgun they've chosen to give the National Guard troops. It's been well documented that many police officers have said, I didn't touch the trigger and the gun went off, or I only was touching the trigger, I wasn't pulling it, which takes force for those who are not familiar with firing guns, and it went off. That's not true with the Glocks, but the military version of the Sig Sauer, I think it's called the M17 in the military. There's a problem with that. And somebody in Trump's circle thought about that. You can be sure that will help provoke an incident. And they want to provoke incidents. Here's something a local DA might consider. There have been several cases now documented and videoed of ICE taking a parent out of a car and leaving very small children in the car. You or I did that, we would be absolutely arrested. Any DA in the country, you got out of your car and went to work and left the kid. Let's see what happens about arresting these federal officers who did that, who left the child in the car. There'd be a big fight over it, but it's also a fight Trump isn't going to want to have, because it shows his utter callousness, his utter lack of humanity. Anyhow, keep don't lose heart. Keep the courage up, and it's going to get worse before it gets better.
It's harder and harder, but I hope you're right. Thank you, David, for your time. Really enjoy you. David K. Johnston, everybody. Right on.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Use Mark Thompson.
The Mark Thompson Show.
That's a great point from David K. Johnston there at the end. Gordon says, good point, David. Exactly. Really, I think sometimes you have to find ways to draw attention to these policies and the brutality and cruelty, which is clearly, as we've talked about before, part of the strategy. I mean, it's deliberately cruel and brutal. They're trying to get people to self-deport. They're trying to send a message to have a chilling effect on any further immigration into this country. And so you end up, in this place where your ICE agents and your immigration officers are doing some pretty heinous things. And that, again, is part of the game. Thanks to David K. Johnston. And smash the like button if you would. It helps us in the YouTube universe. Costs you nothing.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Shout out to all of our new PayPal and Patreon supporters. That's how you can support this show, keep it on the air. There are click-throughs to Patreon and PayPal under all our videos. So you can, we're really like an NPR PBS model, totally crowdfunded. The show's free. It's across all the audio platforms. As a podcast, it's video and audio on YouTube. It's live every day for 2 hours, 2 to 4 in the East, 11 to 1 in the West. But the only way it continues is with your support. And so Patreon and PayPal, we run all your names at the end of every show because you're the reason every show is on. And Tony adds names to that scroll at the end of every month or beginning of every month?
Yeah, the beginning of every month.
Beginning of every month. So
Thanks, Tony.
You can support the show that way. Also, you can click through on our website, themarkthompsonshow.com. For those just listening, themarkthompsonshow.com. That's a great way to, again, for whatever you can, Patreon, PayPal, jump on board and support the show. So, all right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I did want to do it. I wanted to give you a window into the upper crust. And so we haven't rehearsed this. We don't know how this is going to go down. This is a segment that we regularly do, but we do it irregularly. Irregularly, we do this regular segment. We call it That's Rich.
Who are they?
The top 1/10%.
What are they like?
These people are so posh and snobby, they're snotty.
That's Rich on the Mark Thompson Show.
And this particular That's Rich episode is primarily concerned with an auction of a fine piece of art. This is a window into that auction process. And after this, I will share with you a high-end real estate deal, and then we will wrap up. But I want you to enjoy, as did I, the way in which they bid in a frenzied way, and then not so frenzied way for this piece of impressionist art. Go ahead, Tony. This is from Sotheby's.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to lot number 8. It's showing behind me the Claude Monet, the Merle, shown up here behind me, and we start the bidding on this work at $45 million, $45 million, $48 million, 48's bid, $50 million I have, at $50 million, $52 million, $52 million is bid, $55 million, $55 million, $58 million, $58 million's bid, $60 million, on my right it's $60 million. Fergus now at $60 million, it's your bid at $60 million, I'll take 62. 60 is the bid from Fergus now at $60 million, $62 million at the back. In the room at 62 against you, Fergus. 62 is the bid over there at $62 million. $65 million. I have two bidders in the room. $65 million is on the aisle. I'm afraid 63 won't cut it, Lisa. 65 million, 68, can I say? 65 I've got. 65, I've got two bidders in the room. $65 million on the far room. 65 million on the aisle. At 65 million. Ladies bid at 65 million. 67. Thank you very much. 67 million. 67 million is bid. 68 with Mark. 68 million with Mark. Madam, it's against you now at 68 million. 70 million. Lady in the room takes preference, I'm afraid. 70 million is your bid. 70 million is the lady's bid. And 72 from either of you I will happily accept. 72 from Mark. 75, madam, should we say?
He's fun.
Yeah.
72 is now against you. It's Mark Poltimore's bid, 75 million. Against you, Mark, against you, Lisa. 75.
So you see, she's talking on the phone. She's got a bidder on the phone, obviously.
75 million is the bid in the room. Seated bidder. 75 million.
So there's one person in the room, one person on the phone, and she's looking for somebody else, and Tony will skip it along to
and selling
75
at 77
million. Now 77 million.
Aisle, at $77 million. Bidding 78 million. Against you, madam. 78 million.
So she's saying it's at 78. How far? So where does it go? Take me down. Where are we?
Look. 81 million.
Oh.
This is a very interesting bidding. Not entirely sure who's in charge. Oh, yes, I am. 81 million is Brooks' bid. Madam, it's against. Is on my aisle. $92 million.
Wow.
Oh.
92. 94, please. Thank you very much.
Wow.
$94 million, madam.
Is that it?
Seems like 94 would be it. But it's not.
I mean, a round of applause was had.
Yeah. They felt like they were
I
there.
offer it to you, madam. 95. 5 million.
Yeah.
Yes. 95 million.
Take me to the end of this. What does it go for? 95 million. And now, the big finish.
It's 97. 97.
This is pretty rarefied air. $97 million for this Claude Monet. Is that who it is, Claude Monet?
Drinks break. 97. At $97 million. The bid is in the room still. Shawbrook, at 97. That's final. Right. Your bid, madam, at $97 million. Anybody else in this room?
It's all over,
may
97.
Buy or bid.
Wait.
But now, I say to you, madam, for $97 million. 97. Thank you.
Oh, it's sold for 97. I love it. Claude Monet.
97 million.
I thought they were going to get to 100, but it's close enough, I guess. $97 million for that Claude Monet.
That was exciting.
I don't know. It was a world that I don't even understand. I do. The high-end art world is really interesting, and I will say and recommend a film that I've recommended to you before, and it's fun, and it's real, and it's a documentary, and it's a fast watch, and it really, I think you'll find it delicious because you'll see how everybody in the art world has an interest in elevating the price of things, in elevating the value of things, right? So when you go in with some piece of art and the appraiser appraises it, the appraiser has an interest in appraising it higher. Why? Because the auction house to which you're taking that piece of art to sell it, they will want to sell it for more because they get more money if they sell it for more. The appraiser gets not only more money on the appraisal, but will be used again and again by the auction house because the appraiser gives them the prices that they want.
Sure.
So as an appraiser, you have an interest in upping your appraisal always with every piece of art. So this movie that I'm recommending and have recommended to you, I think before, it's been probably a couple of years since I have, I think it's called Made You Look. You can check it, Tony, but I'm pretty sure it's called Made You Look. And you'll see how people are drawn into this and how when something goes poof, like might not be legitimate, might not be authentic, might be a fraud, how everybody stands back and goes, I didn't have anything to do. I'm not the one who authenticated it as real. And you see how the authenticators, they're incentivized to authenticate things as real. This is a real Rothko. This is a real, fill in the blank of whatever artist you want. This is a real Da Vinci. This is a real Monet. This is a real whatever. Because they'll be then used again as an authenticator because this isn't an authenticator who kicks stuff back. So anyway, authenticator, appraiser, auction house, they all, if you will, have an interest in kind of looking the other way on fraud. And that's what you're going to see in this movie. It's called Made You Look, a true story about fake art. And I think you'll find it delicious and really worth it. So that's my recommendation on the heels of this high-end auction. The other thing I wanted to mention to you was a story sent to us, Kim, wasn't it, by a Mark Thompson Show listener?
Oh,
viewer.
Jeff Johnston. Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff Jensen. Did you put it in here? It's a really good, it's about the highest end listing. I had it. Here it is. The most expensive home in the United States was just listed by this California farming couple. The billionaire California couple behind one of the agricultural entities in the states that is the largest has put their Aspen, Colorado property on the market for a whopping, anyone? How much are they listing their Aspen, Colorado property for? And they've actually sold it for close to the list price. The answer is $300 million. Yeah.
Wow.
It's called Little Lake Lodge, a sprawling 74-acre estate owned by Linda and Stuart Resnick. It's just a mile from downtown Aspen. It's a rare property that likely could not be replicated today, Kim. Multiple homes dot the land that borders the Roaring Fork River, and the property includes its own private lake with a requisite swan paddle boat, many miles of trails for hiking or cross-country skiing. There's a pool. The main mansion, Kim, I know that's where you and your family will be staying in the main mansion.
Right.
18,500 square feet of luxury.
What?
Yes,
I don't think
30-foot ceilings.
That's not a house. That's like a mall. Really?
Yes, you're right. It is mall-like. Stunning views from every window and terrace. 18 bedrooms, 20 full bathrooms. You can use the bathroom in any way you want, including showering there, and 4 partial bathrooms. It's a total, really, of 24 bathrooms. And
24
I must
bathrooms?
say, yeah, you can go to the bathroom in a different place and a different bathroom every day through the month. You'll only have to repeat a few days. Pretty great. So Tony showed you an aerial shot of the entire place. It was designed by architect Peter Dominic, who's known for crafting Disney's Grand Californian Hotel in Anaheim.
Oh, yeah.
And they had apparently taken inspiration from the Ahwahnee Hotel in Yosemite after crafting the vision of the wife, Linda. They've hosted plenty of notable guests there throughout the years, according to the Wall Street Journal. Barbra Streisand, Diane Keaton, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Huh? They seem like they might be libs, you know? But at that level, it's all one party.
It's the most expensive homes in the United States.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Here's the couple. I think I have a picture for you.
I will say this about them. They are, they look lovely, look very happy. Their business tactics have come under scrutiny.
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry. But they've been accused of draining the state's water because they have these huge, they're really big ag. The Central Valley is dominated by a lot of their agricultural businesses. And they are accused of, again, using so much of the state's water. They drench political candidates in contributions, but that is their right, and that's America. But Gavin Newsom, they have put a lot of money into his campaign and like the anti-recall effort, and also Jerry Brown. So they have a history in California. They're big Democrats. They have a lot of money, but, well, I don't need to tell you they have a lot of money. They're selling the most expensive piece of property in history. So, but they come out of that world of big ag in California. And with that, my friends, that's rich.
More on how the other half lives.
These people aren't just rich, they're crazy rich.
Next time on The Mark Thompson Show.
Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I know. So much going on. Let me just get a quick look at the chat. Hello, Mark and Kim, says Chaplain Fred with a $9.99, $10 super chat. Just made it back from Seattle, he says. Love flying Alaska Airlines. Glad to be part of the show. Chaplain Fred, part of the show. Fresh from Alaska Airlines. He's a fan of Alaska Airlines. Who knew? He's got the chaplain's, what is that? Mark of approval?
Big shout out.
Yeah. Nice job. I was the one, Jim Shields says. I was first to refer to Richard Delamater as the Hunter S. Thompson of the show. How dare you take credit? Yes. I'm sorry. Did I take credit? I think I might have. I don't know. Did I?
I think that's a my bad. I'm sorry. I think is what he said.
Kim,
I blame you.
Yeah, Kim doesn't.
Oh, wait, what?
Kim has no recollection of it. I promise you. But she can't wait to go. Yes, I think you did. Oh my God, you're wrong. You should apologize.
I think it's always your fault.
I blame you.
Yes. Yep. Okay. It was wrong.
It was wrong. It was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
That goes for me. I mean, I'm really sorry that I did take away from Jim Shields.
Would you like to apologize for what you've done?
I do feel bad, Jim. And it was Jim Shields. All right, so Jim Shields came up with Richard Delamater as the Hunter S. Thompson of the show. And was it Heather who came up with the performative patriotism? I use paper patriot, but I think I like her performative patriot. All right, good. Richard is the Timothy Leary of the show, says Nelda. Oh, that's a different Richard. If you're new, is one of our regular guys who likes to hit the medicine. Medicine can come in different forms. It can come in, all the different ways you can self-medicate. So Timothy Leary's a good, I told you about meeting Timothy Leary, right? I met him. I was so excited to meet Timothy Leary. But it's the least glamorous, least interesting, but I'll just tell you because I was so excited. I was in Los Angeles at the Arco station on Sunset Boulevard, and I'm filling up my car with gas. And I look right there 3 feet from me is this guy filling up this Mercedes, this small Mercedes, kind of, I think it was a convertible. And there he was, Timothy effing Leary. And I said, oh my God, it is so great to see you. He didn't look well. He looked gaunt, you know. But it was a great sighting. So I can't see the Timothy Leary name without, what was his motto, Kim, do you know?
I don't know.
Google it.
Yeah. I think it was tune in. Go ahead. Do you find it, Kim? Kim's going to find the motto. Tune in. I know drop out. It was tune in. No?
Tune in, turn on, tune in, drop out.
That's it. There you go. Timothy Leary's most famous slogan is turn on, tune in, drop out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1967. The phrase was a call to psychedelic exploration. Turn on. Awareness and participation. Tune in. And detachment from mainstream society. Drop out. That was it. Anyway, nice little digression. Ben, thank you for the $5 super sticker. Thank you, my friend.
Big shout out.
Shout out to you, Ben. Knowing Marie Clarity says the NFL stadiums are tax supported, so you should have 1A right there. Colin gets booted for, you're talking about
First Amendment.
First Amendment freedom of speech stuff. Colin gets booted for exercising his First Amendment right. I see. Sorry, I was just reading. The irony, NFL holding that flag sideways is in violation of the U.S. flag code. I never realized that the NFL holding the flag sideways is in violation of U.S. flag code. That's what I was saying. People wear the flag, people hold it sideways, and yet Colin gets booted for, again, that free speech exercise, the kneeling, etc. That's part of a long conversation. There was more going on with cross currents there. And then you saw the NFL essentially
blackballing,
put in the end zone, end racism, and I mean they really steered the other way with all their messaging, and yet you've iced out this guy Colin Kaepernick for making the same point that you did, or that you are with all of your markings and signage, etc. I believe POTUS has. Oh yeah, this is we've already talked about this. I think we've already talked about a few of these. So as a housekeeping matter, thank you. There was a right winger on Abby Phillips' show, says Randy, last night, who said he was uncomfortable with Trump taking 10% of Intel, but he couldn't bring himself to condemn it. That's the thing. I'm unhappy about it, but I don't want to condemn it. There's a lot of that in this country right now. I talked about the Intel takeover yesterday, the 10%. It's straight up. It's straight up socialism. It's a tenet of socialism, of controlling the means of production. So I also talked about it yesterday that in my judgment, we grant so much in the way of underwriting to oil companies with the discounted leases, with incredible tax breaks. I mean, essentially, you, the American public, are subsidizing oil exploration and natural gas exploitation in this country. So it's in your country, and yet you don't bear any of those benefits. You don't get any of that money. And you don't even get discounted oil and natural gas. That's my point. If, okay, you won't give us profit participation, at least keep it here domestically. If you find domestic oil and natural gas, again, dirty oil, I'd like sustainable energy. Okay, you want to just talk about that? We subsidize it. You found it here in the U.S. We want it to stay here in the U.S. That's not the way it works. It's harvested and it moves on to the world market. And you buy it as an American the same way everybody else buys it. We buy as a country all of this oil and natural gas on the open market. That's completely leaving you, the taxpayer who subsidized it, out of the game. It's absurd. So as long as we're taking over parts of Intel, we should take parts of the oil companies. What are you saying, Mark? You want the U.S. government to own it? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. But make no mistake, that is socialism. That is communism. Now, again, these are the tenets of communism. It doesn't mean that the government is all communist or socialist. But I'm just saying this government has a completely different way of looking at corporate America and at many of these companies that do international business than there used to be. So the other thing I would just say is that the good reason, the argument for keeping the government out of businesses is because that's the free market. These businesses exist within a free marketplace, and so they rise and fall on their own as a result of supply and demand, among other things, right? And so the minute you have the government involved, you can have the government influence policy to favor one company over another. So you can give a competitive advantage to a company that the government owns against a company that the government doesn't own. That's the way that shakes out, at least in real life. We'll see how this thing with Intel works, but it's a pretty ballsy move, you know.
How do you shake that out though among conservatives, Republicans who are, so ingrained in our capitalist system when you start, throwing some socialism, communism-esque ideas in there? Does that not shake them up and make you think that you're the next Mamdani of the Republican Party?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think that there are two things on that. One is they're free marketplace Republicans. Typically, the GOP would be free marketplace. So they wouldn't embrace this. You're absolutely right. It'd be a hard no normally. There's already socialism, as we know. Mm-hmm. We bail out a lot of these industries, right? When you bail out an industry, that's socialism. That's a handout, if you want to think of it that way. Right? The 2008 bailout, the Fed's bailing out so many of these lending institutions, that was straight up socialism, but it's happening all the time.
When Obama bailed out the auto industry, they turned around and paid the country back, right?
Sure. That's an example of when it being paid back. And I would say the last time Trump was in power and he imposed these export restrictions and import restrictions, tariff, import taxes that affected American farmers. And if you'll recall, soybean farmers were affected, and there was a group of farmers in the Midwest primarily who were dramatically affected by Trump policies. What Trump did is he took the tariff money and he directed it to those farmers and bailed them out to make them whole. Well, that's socialism as well. So, again, the state giving you money that they've brought in, that we all own the means of production as a people, that's the socialist/communist directive and philosophy. And so, yeah, Kim's right. I mean, if you really look at it as a GOP, or if you're really a free market person, you'd say no, hard no on that. But if you're really a Christian, wouldn't you say hard no on the brutality of so much of what's going on with ICE and the way they're separating families, the way they're deporting people with a kind of recklessness that doesn't take in account at all the kind of contribution they've made to the country, just the pure cruelty. It's awful. Cutting off USAID when you've already appropriated the money. There's already food on the platform waiting to go out, waiting to be distributed. There are already vaccines against these horrible illnesses, everything from malaria to HIV. And you end up destroying those vaccines rather than letting them get to the destinations designated by USAID. Isn't that unchristian? I mean, I'm just surprised that this crew that passes themselves off as Christian is so okay with so much of the cruelty. So back to the point on communism, socialism. Yeah, that was the old me. I'm good with this guy, Trump. He seems right. So you see that there's sort of a saluting to the MAGA flag now more than anything else. Yep. So I'm Lucy McAllister, my favorite McAllister.
Aw, Lucy.
That's pretty great. Big shout out,
Big
Lucy.
shout out.
Lucy McAllister's been just terrific. Really great.
Mm-hmm.
I may have to find a spot for her on Thompson Terrace in the metaverse.
She can be next to me. Am I even on Thompson Terrace?
You're not. It's really for donors to the
sadly,
show, Kim. It's not,
I'm not
really
there.
for. Yeah, I'm sorry.
What?
I know.
No.
I didn't mean to break it to you this way.
It's okay.
But,
I'll have
let's
to
ask
work
Mr.
it.
Predicto if
Mhm.
Kim will ever get a statue on Thompson Terrace. Let's see. Will Kim ever get a statue on Thompson Terrace, Mr. Predicto?
I would not count on it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kim. I mean, apparently...
I will not count on it. I would not count on it either, Mr. Predicto.
Harry Magnan says this could be the best contribution for this $5 contribution. There will be the biggest will be in 2 weeks. Now back to my Martini. Yeah, he likes the 2-week thing. Trump does, the promise. Thank you, Harry. Love that. All right. I could continue all day.
Did we get this one from Tom Graves?
No, what is that?
DJT
attempted to run for president of the United States as a right-wing communist partnership in 1999 with his new girlfriend, Melania, by his side. Is that right?
I don't know.
Oh, can we just...
Google it.
Kim, are you working on the show anymore, or do you just...
I'm just hanging
put
out.
stuff up? Yeah, okay. Well, then I don't know if that's true. Seems like extraordinary. But I know Tony's checking it out. Trump is completely addled, and everyone, even remotely serious, can see it. The extremists are propping him up. He definitely is, I don't know. He's addled. Certainly, I'm sure that's true. I don't know who's propping him up. I mean, these guys are in power, and I don't know. I don't see them giving up that power anytime soon. So I think they have an interest in seeing Trump as a strong leader. And yes, sir, Mr. President, whatever you want, Mr. President, and your vision of America is the right vision of America. So I think in that sense, you're right. I'm stalling a bit because I want to see if Tony's found the... So you're saying that was when he was running for that picture with, that looks like Jesse Ventura and Donald Trump? Was he running for...
I'm looking at a BuzzFeed article that said he almost ran for president in 99.
But not on the communist ticket. I'm sorry. I don't buy that. I don't know what that was a reference to. But if you find me the documentation, send it to me. That's all I can say. The Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com.
Looks like it was on. Oh, sorry. It looks like it was on the Tonight Show. He joked about it, I guess.
Oh.
I see.
And since Ventura was independent at the time, so right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Ventura was one of those. He was another real populist candidate. Got in and like, I'm going to take care of stuff for the people. I was the voice of conspiracy theory, which was Jesse Ventura's show. It was really a fun show to do the voice work on because the voice work was all really like, Governor Ventura isn't going to take no for an answer. It was that kind of read. Angry. Governor Ventura's here to get some answers. Inside the Federal Reserve Board. It was that kind of, very arch kind of read. It was kind of fun.
I've come from regular stock.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that.
All his years in pro wrestling, right?
Yeah, all those years in pro wrestling. He was
the best bad guy. So good.
But he was a smart guy. He was a Navy SEAL, I think, and he was a smart guy. I think he's a big pothead down there, wasn't he, in Mexico?
Where are my weed
I just remember he doesn't have time to bleed. Predator.
What Governor Ventura discovered was so disturbing that he became a pothead south of the border. All right.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
We will have a recess. Tomorrow, great day, the return of John Rothman, everyone.
Yeah.
That's right, all you Rothmanettes. You will get your John Rothman back tomorrow. Also, got a couple of pretty big conversations on Belinda with It's the Planet Stupid, all of that tomorrow. Until then, thanks everybody for your support, and
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
So much fun. Kim?
Out of time. Bye-bye.
After Party Live. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye.